like everyone, I came to painting in a circuitous route. I was a pre-law English major at the University of Maryland. I was born in Wyoming, and by the time we kids got to be of speaking age, I think our folks decided they'd get us to a more civilized environment, so we moved to Bethesda, Maryland, and my dad and mom both worked for the federal government. I went to the University of Maryland and was a pre-law English major, and one of my old girlfriends talked me into taking a dancing class, which didn't work out, and another girlfriend talked me into taking a drawing class, which did work out, and I've never had a real job, fortunately. I've always been a painter or a visiting artist at different colleges. I've had little side jobs. I worked as, probably the most helpful was a little store called Dyer Brothers in Rockville or Bethesda, Maryland, and back before they had computer chips, women would bring in color samples and swatches, and I'd have to match and mix paint to. That was my job, and I learned more about color mixing there than I did anywhere else. I worked as an electrician's apprentice for years after graduating, so that I could work for a few months to get enough money to paint for a few months, to spend all the money to work for a few months to get enough money, and I did that for several years. And then got my first visiting artist position in the 70s, and got to North Carolina in 1984 as a North Carolina visiting artist. After my 4-year stint, I was going to move back. I was in Baltimore at the time, prior to North Carolina, and I was going to move back. And Jerry Melberg picked me up in 88, I guess. And I was with the Melberg Gallery for several years, left there, and was handled by Hodges Taylor for a while, and then from there, I think Red Sky Gallery picked me up. No, then it was Gabrielle Shane Fine Art, and then Red Sky Gallery. And Kelly Scott very kindly said that she would let me paint anything I wanted to, and I was in heaven. So about going backwards in time, I moved to Charlotte to get a relationship with Jerry, and met my wife, fell in love, and I've been here since, in Charlotte since 1988. She actually was the one who talked me into opening the studio. She couldn't handle the mercurial, and no one could, the mercurial income of an exhibiting artist. Sometimes you're very wealthy and sometimes you're very poor. And my wife's name is Carol. She teaches language arts at AG Middle School, and she wanted a stable income, so this was her idea, and it worked out better than I ever thought. I never thought I would get the vicarious thrill of other people's success. And I always thought I was too selfish, but I guess we all grow. And I mean, I enjoy that a great deal. Still, I save Friday and Saturday, or Friday and Sunday, as a day for me just to paint. And that's still, that selfish pleasure is still pretty important to me. I'm pretty adept at handling figure work and representational work and pretty abstract work, and I can help people find their own voice, and have been fairly successful with that. I just am kind of honest about it. My teaching style just sort of expresses what I'm most excited about that day about my own painting, and I share it with other people and break it into lessons. It's gotten pretty sophisticated over the years. I have workshops that are actually named and titled, but it's basically just helping people find a voice and get comfortable with using more paint and more color and more personal expression. Well, my canned answer is it's the only way I know how to break the rules and not go to jail. My practical answer is I'm not happy. It's like meditation. I don't get through the day unless I paint a little bit every day. But the real answer is that's what I do. You know, that's some people. I'm right on that, in that Myers-Briggs test, I'm right on the cusp between introvert and extrovert. The introvert in me paints, the extrovert in me teaches, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody who, like the clergy, doesn't have a calling. I'm not equating art with with the rabbinate or theology, but it's a very difficult way to make a living, and unless that's the only thing you can do, then I wouldn't do it as for a living. But that's the only thing I can do. You know, starting from representational work, figure work, and abstract, Frank Stella, Clifford Still was probably my first big influence. There was a great little blues restaurant bar called the Child Herald off of DuPont Circle. I think it was R Street or S Street off of DuPont in Washington. I used to go down every Friday. It was actually Wednesday. There was a great blues guitarist who'd come in. I can't remember his name. And it was around the corner was a gallery, a museum called the Phillips Place, called Phillips Museum, sorry. I would sit in there, and there was a Clifford Still painting I used to look at, and it got to the point after month after month, that I stopped going to the blues club and stopped drinking and would just go in and migrate once a week or so to that Clifford Still. It was a very heavily impasto painting, and I grew to like Frank Stella's work. Really excited me. Figure painters, Lucian Freud is spectacular. Pearlstein, you know, every aspect of painting. I think in the late 40s and early 50s, all the artists that took elements of painting and concentrated on one element, like Pollock did the action painting, and de Kooning were action painters, Morris Louis and Sam Francis were color field painters, you know. Everyone had their own strength that they concentrated on, and I always tended toward those people who celebrated surface, so anyone who had a surface in their painting really intrigued me. Painting for me is more than a hobby or a pastime. It's been a way of life for me, like Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance. I think any time you study something long enough, you're really studying yourself. People ask me if you're born with talent, and I think no, you're just born with the patience to learn something. Some people are born talented, I wasn't. I was born with patience, and I get better and better, and every painting I do is always every most recent painting is my favorite. I think I just love to learn and love to paint, and love to be in nature. I think it all comes back to being comfortable outdoors and observing nature and finding bits to bring back into your painting.